You what a dooski, Teddy Brewski, what's the deal? Shaquille O'Neal, what's the word, Larry Bird? It's your boy Reactions, man. Remo's Reactions TV. We are back with yet another one. The stage is set. First and foremost, before I go any further, I want to thank the Most High for another day, man, and being able to get out here and do this shit, man. It's all new to me, and it's trial and error, so I'm learning, y'all. If you are new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. Please and thank you, man. Just go bang. That's it. Take your pointer finger and just hit subscribe. Whether you watch the content or not, man, your support is necessary, and that's support to me. You feel me? Everything I do is for entertainment and educational purposes. I do not own this content. And it's for fair use. That's my disclaimer. You feel me? Let me see who this is, cause I just be clicking on shit. Hold up. Make sure I go to Hood War Chronicles. But the stage is set, man. You know what I mean? Big U is finally getting his karma. And this today, I'm not sure if y'all familiar with Monster Cody, but you know, do your research, man, about Monster Cody. But he tried to press Monster Cody, and shit wasn't going. Damn, I got the hiccups like a motherfucker. But no further ado, man, please hit that subscribe, like, get down in the comments. Let me know what y'all think. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get better, you know what I mean? And I need y'all, what's the word? Opinion. I gotta relax. Let's get it, man. Reactions, man. Hit that subscribe. For real, for real. Let's go.
I'm walking up to church, and as I'm walking up to church, I swear to God, it's about 50 hoops walking down the street. And Monster, they already right there. And all I could do was sit down on a little wall. And I'm hoping that they don't see, that they don't recognize who I am.
The Roman 60s and the 8 traces and mortal enemies, they've killed over 20 of my homies. We killed over.
That's Monster Cody, y'all.
Monster Cody did an interview, and he said that he brought somebody's arm, and that was Jay Blake's arm.
You gonna tell me that story is real?
Yeah, that was Jay Blake's arm.
Everyone knows Big U has gained some stripes in the streets and entertainment industry, so much that he's even been referred to as the Blue Suge Knight of LA, terrorizing everywhere left and right. But before he even came into the picture, there was another Crip member who proved to him and his crew that he was deadlier, Monster Cody. If you rewind to the 70s and 80s, Monster Cody had the streets of LA in a chokehold.
Damn, man, I hope that shit was motherfucking recording. My fault, y'all. I had the goddamn speaker playing at the same goddamn me time. When
chaos followed, Dude was a problem, and not the kind you could ignore. See, while Big U was out here catching heat for petty murders and flexing power, Cody was already deep in the trenches from the age of 13 or 14, even earning his nickname the hard way. Trouble was second nature to him.
The name came from a beating that I had given a guy. He had robbed him. Okay. And the dude hit me in the face, and then we chased him. Beat him.
But there was one time Big U crossed paths with Cody, and honestly, if Cody had decided to swing that day, things might have gone out of control. In fact, there might not even be any story left of Big U to tell today.
I'm walking up to church, and as I'm walking up to church, I swear to God, it's about 50 hoops walking down the street. And Monster.
So how real does this story get? Let's dive in. Throwing it back to the 70s, Monster Cody wasn't just a name that comes out of your mouth without a tremble. Even Big U knew this himself. That was how notorious this guy was back then. At an early age, this guy ran the streets like they were his playground. He did things boys his age couldn't, even though he didn't get away with most of them. However, just one decision turned his life around. taking it from bad to worse. Kody was put on with the 8-Trey gangster Crips. This was influenced mostly through his connection with a Trey gangster named Trey Ball. At first, he didn't even have a hood name, and since another set already had someone named Kody, his homies weren't trying to let that ride. But that changed later when he earned his own identity the hard way.
I joined the 8-Trey gangsters when I was 11 years old. For the first year, I was...
Yo, listen. Do y'all realize, like, he just said he joined the 8-Trey gangsters at 11 years old. What? And he said, I just wanted to be a wannabe. 11 years old is crazy to me, bro. Like, what the fuck?
It's just a wannabe. And I found out early on that it's the most courageous acts of violence, the things that no one else do, that will get you a reputation.
On June 15th, 1975, Kody officially got initiated into the 8-Treys. That night, he and 4 other 8-Treys slid into Brim territory to handle some business. According to Kody himself, that's the night he caught his first body. And from that point on, he was locked in, full-time in the life. By 1977, he picked up the name Monster after he beat a man so badly, stomping him for 20 minutes and leaving him in a coma, that the cops said whoever did that had to be a monster. The name stuck, and that's what everyone called him from then on.
Stomped the man. He was like maybe 30 at that time. I was like 14, 13 or something like that. And I stomped the guy for a long time. I think like 15, 20 minutes. The police came, and they were telling everybody at the scene that whoever did this was a monster. And then that just rippled through the crowd. And when I came back around later that night, they were saying that the police were calling you a monster. Man, they were calling you a monster, man. And I was like, well, that's what I am.
Between 1977 and 1979, Monster Cody was in and out of juvenile hall for shootings and assaults. The longest stretch he did during that time was 9 months. When he got out, the streets had already started to shift. The 8-Treys, who used to be tight with the Rollin' 60s Crips, fell out after a fistfight turned into gunplay. Things hit a point of no return when a new 8-Trey recruit took out Tyrone, the younger brother of Big Rick, a respected Rollin' 60s member. That move shifted the whole dynamic in the streets. Hoods that were once cool had to pick sides, and old friendships turned into deadly beefs.
That infamous night, infamous day that happened, that was March 3rd. That was March 3rd, 1979. Who got killed?
Prior to that, Big Rick, brother got killed in March 7th. We had a relationship with them. Then they got into a fight. A guy from 9-0 gangster or whatever, he ended up shooting Big Rick brother, which is Tyrone.
Monster was all in. The war with the 60s kicked off heavy, and he was already going at it with their blood rivals too. Sets like the Brims and the Inglewood families.
The Rollin' 60s and the 8-Treys have been mortal enemies. They've killed over 20 of my homies. And we've killed over, I'm sure, 27, 28, 9 of them.
Around this time, Big U was also beginning to gain traction in LA underworld. He was getting in and out of trouble. And at the spark of the tension, he had just been rewarded by the Rollin' 60s as one of the top members who carried out enforcements. To add to that, he had just moved back to LA from Chicago to join in the fight, and it was on, full blown. The 60s guys added to the tension when they left their territories for the 8-Treys to cause havoc. But that was nothing close to what Monster Cody had in store. In the summer of 1980, Monster's mom asked him to walk with her to the store. She liked shopping at this spot called the Buddha Market, which just so happened to be deep in Rollin' 60s territory. Sure enough, while there, Monster got into a shootout with a 60s member right outside the store. He caught a case for it, but ended up beating it. Then on July 8th, 1980, Monster's girlfriend had just given birth to his first child. On his way to the hospital, he passed through 60s turf and spotted a dude known as Bank Robber, a 60s member. Monster didn't hesitate. He shot him multiple times and drove off. By this point, Monster said the war had already claimed lives. 8-Treys had lost about 5 people, and the Rollin' 60s had lost around 8. Things had gotten way past just fights and shootouts. This was full-blown war.
I have 6 nephews from my sisters, and 4 of them are gone. They died before they even got 19. And then this is Antoine. He was actually murdered by a 60. My son was a 5 deuce Hoover. Okay, a 60 killed my son. I went to 3 funerals in one day.
At one point, the 60s even kidnapped an 8 Trey member's sister and held her for 3 days, doing some truly graphic, messed up things to her. That act alone sparked a whole new level of retaliation. Some 8 Trey gangsters wanted revenge, and not just on anyone. They were gunning for high-profile 60s like Petey Whack, Kidder Rock, Mumbles, and even who were all known shooters from the 60s. They couldn't find them, though. So instead, they caught another 60s member and went brutal, chopped him up, and even kept his arms as trophies. That was a wild, dark time.
He brought somebody's arm back to a meeting, and that was Jay Blake's arm.
That's fucking crazy.
Yes, that was Jay Blake's arm.
By the end of 1980, Monster got set up by 3 women and ambushed by the 60s. He got shot multiple times but survived. Just 2 days after getting out the hospital, police picked him up for 6 different shootings. He went back to jail to fight the charges, and again...
Astrid.mu is powered by Shopify, both online and in person. Shopify enabled scaling.
Again, beat the cases. By 1981, bodies were still dropping left and right between the 8 Treys and the 60s. Monster was still in the thick of it. Now, for Big U, everyone already knows that the bro was affiliated with the Rollin' 60s. In fact, he is one of the solid standing members of that gang, running things back then, and even now. During the times when Kody was making the streets hot, he had crossed paths with Big U. And let's just say things could have gone sideways pretty quickly.
I'm walking up to church, and as I'm walking up to
this, look, Big U, he the bully, right? He's supposed to be this big figure where everybody's scared of him and all that. This nigga tucked his tail. Straight up, like, think about it, man. He bullies everybody. Allegedly, this is all alleged. He extorts, bullies, mom and pop spots, people, nip, rappers. He wants you to check in. You know, he needs all parts. But when he crossed Monster Cody, why'd you hide? Why? Cause you this big tough guy, correct? You know what I mean? Everybody's scared of you and all this. So why the fuck is you hiding behind the thing so that nigga don't be able to chance to see your ass and then catch rap? Come on, man. Stop playing, bro. Hit that like
church. I swear to God, it's about 50 Hoovers
now
walking down the street.
Cap. Now it's 50. It probably was like 4 of them, 5 of them.
And Monster.
The story goes that he had just returned from serving and was at his mother's church when he sighted Kody from a distance. Kody was not just that guy who moved alone. He had an entourage with whom he rolled. On this particular occasion, Big U stated that the moment he sighted Kody with the amount of guys following him, he hoped they didn't see him. And that was for obvious reasons.
They already right there. And all I can do was sit down on a little wall. And I'm hoping that they don't see me and they don't recognize who I am.
At that time, things were already...
But I thought you was this big rolling 60 member where, you feel me? I get it though, bro. I don't gangbang. You know what I'm saying? But I understand certain things. And, you know what I mean? But you doing that, like, you know what I mean? It's a chess move. You know what I mean? Like, you ain't gang goofy to where, you know what I mean, you outnumbered and this, that, and the third. But you're a leader, dude. You're not a foot soldier. You are the face of the 60s. You sit down on a thing like this. Hopefully they don't see me. They don't recognize me. You know what I mean? I get it, man. It's a strategic move. It's not a bitch move, but at the same time, you big useless.
Already at a boiling point between 8 Treys and the Rollin' 60s. And of course, the bodies dropping were unreasonable, so Big U going into hiding was basically survival instinct. But here's the fun part. Kody had sighted Big U from a distance, and he basically walked up to him and kept things friendly.
Monster walked by, he looked at me, I looked up at me, he said, Big U? say, "Good."
The whole situation passed, and of course, it is no lie that Kody could have decided to end things then and there. But instead, everything just hissed out.
All right, I'm back,
Later,
I'm back.
Monster ended up getting sent back to jail and caught a 4-year stretch for something he said he didn't even do. While locked up, he ran into Little Fee, a known 60s member. They clowned each other's hoods, traded insults, but it didn't go further than that at the time. While doing time at YTS, youth training school, Monster met a counselor who introduced him to Islam. He started going to services, reading books, and digging into teachings from the Nation of Islam and other revolutionary minds. He was released in early 1984 with his mindset starting to shift, but the streets pulled him right back in. By August of '84, he bumped into Little Fee again, this time out in the open at a spot called the Golden Ox. Things popped off quick. A shootout broke out with several 60s, and Little Fee was leading the charge. Neither Monster nor Little Fee got hit, and somehow both made it out of that situation alive. But freedom didn't last long. In September '84, Monster went back to jail after a 60s member named Little Eddie ID'd him as one of the shooters who got him. Monster got locked up in the infamous 2800 block. Turns out, Little Fee was also in there at the time for a separate shooting. But soon, his charges got even heavier. He was later tied to the shooting of football player Kermit Alexander's family and ended up getting life for that.
Los Angeles police say the mother, sister, and 2 nephews of former National Football League star Kermit Alexander were shot dead in their home today. Witnesses said the 2 gunmen walked in the family bungalow and opened fire.
Like, yo, listen, out of all the names in the world, and no disrespect to fan band, you know what I mean? Like, they owe it, but naming a motherfucker Kermit, that's just crazy to me. Like, all right, out of all the names you can pick, yo, I'm fit today this nigga Kermit. Yo, hit that subscribe button.
Still inside, Monster joined a prison-based Crip organization called the Consolidated Crip Organization, CCO. He was brought in by Tony Stacy from Hoover. Somewhere along the line, a member of the Black Guerrilla family, BGF, gave him the name Sanyika Shakur, which he eventually made official and legally changed to. In 1985, Monster was sent to Chino State Prison to serve a 7-year bid. While he was in, the CCO started falling apart. Internal politics, Hoover leaving the CCO, and rising tension with another Crip group called the Blue Notes turned everything messy. The unity they once had started crumbling fast. Somewhere along the line, Big U caught a case. The story goes, his heavy involvement in the streets during that era, that wild 80s crack era where LA was like a war zone, led him to get locked up on some serious charges tied to gang and street activities. He was sentenced to 23 years, but had a bid for 13 years. By 1988, Monster Cody was beginning to turn things around for himself. He started putting pen to paper, channeling his energy into writing. That same year, he got paroled and was finally out. Trying to walk a different path, he focused more on being a family man and started stepping away from the streets. For a while, he chilled on the gangbanging and crime. But in 1991, he got caught up again. This time for beating a man who was selling dope in his neighborhood without checking in. That landed him another sentence, 7 years behind bars. While doing that time, Monster started connecting with the New African movement and really started digging into his identity and politics. He also made a huge mark with his writing. While still locked up, he dropped the autobiography of an LA gang member, a raw, powerful book that ended up becoming one of the most iconic urban memoirs ever written. He didn't stop there either. He wrote Thug Life and popped up in a few of those classic hood DVDs too. Around this time, Big U had been released and had decided to turn his life around. For Disguise though, he made his mark in the music industry, not just as a figure behind the scenes, but as a key player in shaping careers, Nipsey Hussle being one of them. Big U's story was deep. Going from the streets to becoming a respected philanthropist says a lot about the kind of turnaround he made. He used his journey to reflect, grow, and shift his path.
Yo, Hood Chronicles, I'm gonna tell you one thing, right? It's Remo's Reactions TV, so I gotta keep it 1,000. That was all cap. That was all cap. The turnaround, the giving to the kids and the football team and the donations and all that. That was cap. Period, point blank, bro. So you need to understand that, beloved. For real, for real. That was all a ploy to, like, he was extorting, allegedly. And all this is allegedly. He's extorting people. Stealing. Man, bro, like, it wasn't no turnaround. It was fucking cap. Fuck is you talking about, man?
He put real effort into doing better, not just for himself, but for his entire community. One of the biggest things he's known for was his work with Developing Options, a non-profit that's all about giving underprivileged youth real opportunities. On top of that, he's heavily...
But he was taking the money from Developing Options and using it for his own personal use. It was all cap. You know what? I'm fucking done with this video, cause this, you know what I mean? Yo, Remo's Reactions TV, man, hit that subscribe. Yo, I'm not finna listen to cause Holmes don't, you know what I mean? Like, I came here for Monster Cody versus Big U. So, you know, with no further ado, man, like, appreciate y'all, love y'all. Word I do. And you know what I mean? Tell me what y'all think down in the comments. Is this genuine? Or did this guy got shit misconstrued? Nah, I mean, I think that nigga was scared of Monster Cody. He ducked off in the thing. You hear me? Like that, trying to hide so you don't recognize him. You know, that nigga like 6'5". Reactions, man. We out of here, man. I don't want to hear this nigga talk no more.